What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the tutorial. Last time we have our WebGL build running as a client. Today we're going to ensure that this WebGL client can actually connect to our server. We're also going to make sure that our editor can connect to it as well, so cross-platform. Already, I am running against time because the sun is about to set. I have the sun in the middle of my eye, so can we get this done today? That is the question. Of course we can. So let's go ahead, go on our instance over here. Last time we left off, we were looking at the client. I'm going to ask you to go back. So as always, when we connect using SSH deploy, the name of our domain. We are going to go inside of our root folder, well, our home folder for deploy. We can see now that there is a folder called builds and also another one called client. I want you to create a new one. So sudo make dir server, enter your password, and then in here, so cd server, I can go inside of the folder. I'm going to create a new Docker-compose. So sudo nano Docker-compose.yml. Don't forget sudo Docker-compose.yml has to be written this way. And as always, we're going to copy this over from the description. Remember, don't click and drag, just click, right click and paste. Dragging basically means copy, so just by dragging and doing paste, you're gonna see all of that. I don't know why I did this. Okay, all right, I'm stuck now. Yeah, so paste, and we're gonna go over it as we like to do. This is a Docker compose file, meaning that we are specifying a service. Service is our container. We have one called escape client. Now we have one called escape server. The image behind this is going to be another Ubuntu. So we're starting the same exact thing as we are running on our machine here. We're going to run that as well in the container that we create. It's going to be Ubuntu 22.04. The volume, very important. Which file are we copying over? Well, we are copying the home deploy builds with an S dedicated folder. And we're putting that under home. So just remember that. Under network, we're using the same traffic network, which means we're gonna have to define it down here. So yeah, that's done. And we're also going to be specifying a command. So the command basically means once we're done creating your Ubuntu 22.04, what do we do? And what do we do is we run home build.8664, which is the name of your game, and we run it with no graphic and batch mode. This is basically command line argument that you can run on a Unity project. So anywhere, even in Windows, you can say, run my game with no graphic and batch mode. So this way it runs without any graphics, basically, and in batch mode. So it strips down the shader, it strips down some asset, it ensures that it's not rendering anything visual, which is going to be helpful because our machine here, it doesn't have a GPU, and our container doesn't really have a GPU. It does have one through the CPU, but it's something else completely. Okay, so that's it for the Docker compose part. Now let's head into traffic. Traffic, as we said, we're going to enable traffic. That's totally fine. And here, the first two lines are quite cool. We are specifying a UDP router. So only for UDP, there's going to be a router called secure escape server. And the entry point is going to be 5000 or server. And then we are redirecting that through a load balancer to port 5000, which is what our game uses. So that's completely fine for the UDP route. So with just these two lines, technically we should have our build running, and we're going to be able to connect to it using Unity editor or using a Windows standalone build. So we got the UDP part covered. We got the tugboat part covered. Now going down here, all we do here is for the web secure socket. So let's look at this. We define a HTTP router called secure escape WSS, web secure socket. And the rule is if you are pointing to server.escapegame.xyz, and if you are entering through web secure. So I don't know if you guys remember, but we created a suffix in front of our domain, and that is the reason here. Because if we were to say, if my rule is escapegame.xyz and we're entering through web secure, we would be in conflict with the WebGL page, the client page. Because the client page says, of course you can access the web build, right? You can access it through this URL and also web secure. And if we did that, then traffic would be like, well, I don't exactly know where to connect my WebSocket because it's the same page as your Nginx application running and serving us the file. So yeah, there is a difference. We also ensure that we have a TLS, meaning that we have a signature on it for the SSL certificate. The HTTP challenge is here to specify how we're going to obtain that certificate. And finally, we're telling the load balancer to point to port 443. So Unity actually runs, the WebSocket in Bayou, we configure it to 443. So it's going to run there. And that's it. That's all we had to do. So Control O, Control X. And it is the moment of truth, guys. The moment we've been waiting for a bit. Actually, for a couple of hours now. Sudo Docker-compose up. And it doesn't work. Why does it not work? Well, let's see. It says we failed to create a task because we have a permission denied on the home build.64. Well, first thing, congratulations, it found the file on the container machine. And second, well, unfortunately, it was not able to run it. What does that mean exactly? It means we have the file out there, but when it copied the file over to the container, maybe the permission were not set right and it was not able to run the file. So let's have a look at this. So let's go back one step. Go under cd ... Let's look at our build folder. So cd builds inside of it. There should be a dedicated folder, maybe even a Windows folder if you left it there. cd dedicated is what we're looking for. And if we do ls, you're gonna see all of these files. One of them that interests us is this one, but what is actually interesting to know for us is what are the permission on this object. To see it, I said object, build. To see it, what we can do is we can do ls again, but this time we do -la, and you're gonna see that there is read write, and read, but there is no execute anywhere. So what we want to do here is we want to do a sudo chmod. We want to be adding the .x, so the permission to execute on build.x8664. By doing this, it should now turn green technically. And yeah, so at this point, the build now has modified permission to it. And when we transfer it over to our container, it should technically work. You could also give it a try right here, but we're about to try it in the container, but you could try it on the top level here by just specifying the name of it, I believe. Command not found. All right, let's do a -- in front. And you can see this actually boots up Unity, but it's gonna cause a lot of problem because, yeah. First, we didn't specify batch mode or we didn't specify no graphic, so we tried to run it with the GPU, didn't really work. Let's go back in our container. It's gonna be a little bit more safe. So cd ... twice, and I'm going to go under server, so cd server, and this time around is a good time, right? If that's the right time. Docker-compose up, and we can see it running. You might find some problem and warning with the shader. This is something to be expected. Basically, a lot of shader that we have are not going to be supported on this, but it's a server, so it makes sense. As we're not rendering anything, there's still like a couple of problems with that. No issue, basically. And let's start by testing out our UDP connection. To do so, I'm inside of Unity right now. I'm going to be having a look at my tugboat. Tugboat is pointing towards 5000 to this address. And you're going to realize we never really defined this address for tugboat. I can't exit this. I'll go back to it afterward, but let's give it a try. Oh, what did it say? Connection ID could not be found. Okay, that's probably my WebGL build doing something crazy, but let's try to connect. And we can see that we were able to connect with the client. And I have 20 ms because I chose New York. If you guys remember on the live stream, I did the same thing, but I was peaking at 80 ms because I was on a San Francisco server. But on New York, much better ms. That being said, let's test this out by killing our server. So here, I'm going to do Control and C. And you can see I got logged out on my Unity editor. So it's working. Congratulations, we got the UDP build working. I'm going to boot it again. So sudo compose, sudo docker compose up, and we're going to try this with the WebGL build now. So let me close this. Let's head over to here. I'm going to refresh the page and click on client. And here I am also with 20 ms. So this seems to work now, both at the same time. Maybe can we do that? We can see that this is running here. I click on client and here we go. So we got a standalone build on the right hand side. Well, it's the editor, but technically it behaves as a Windows build. And here we have the WebGL, and I believe that might work. I'm not sure, I haven't tried that before, but can we boot more than one page? Of course we can. All right, guys, we got this to work finally. I hope you guys are proud of yourself. This is quite a big step. It doesn't look like it because the game sucks, but it is quite a big step, and I am very proud of you for making it that far. And if you haven't made it that far because you have a problem, the Discord server is there, priority support is there, my Twitch channel is also there. Alright guys, so this was fun, but we forgot to do one last thing, and that's just on me again. I forgot to do my config file properly. If we head over to the Docker Compose, I myself, and I think I fixed it for you for the video, I hope I did, I forgot to add a restart label to this. So we have the volume, the network, the command, but I am also going to add here a restart unless we stopped it manually. Hit Control O, X, and now I'm ready to boot this again. So I'm gonna say sudo docker compose up. This time it's gonna be detached. So I can leave it running and I can actually close my server, not even look at it for the next month or so. Press play, and this works. So here I am connecting from anywhere in the world from these two different platforms. All right, let's go through our checklist. Our checklist is basically, does it work? So does it work? That's it. Can you actually start it in WebGL, and can you actually start it inside of the Unity editor? That's the two items that we have. And if it doesn't, you have access to our Discord in which you can ask questions. We have the priority support here for the people who are subscribed on Twitch or the one that redeemed the 10,000 point rewards. Find the episode number you're currently on, should be at the bottom left, right there, yes. And there is a thread for that. So ensure you go through the checklist, find out what is wrong, and I will be there to help you out if anything is wrong. But other than that, we got pretty much everything done for this chapter, so congratulations once more. I hope your server is up and running, you can play with your balls. Thank you for watching, I'll see you next time. Cheers.